This is Yawny, Yelly, Glowy, Floaty, and this is how we produced Bluebonnet Baby. I thought we'd just jump right into it. So just to let you know where we're at, what you're looking at, I split up my productions into two files, an instrumental file and a vocal file. And I find that if I can keep them separated, it helps me focus my work to not be distracted, because I'd go back and forth, this and that, and I. So right now we're looking at the instrumental track where we'll explore sounds and different instruments, solo them, put them, unsolo them so we can hear them in the context of the song as a whole. And then we'll go look at the vocal stuff. So let's just take a look at the very beginning of the song just to get our feet wet. No vocals. Okay, so right off the bat, here, this big all caps, guess I am gonna talk about how I organize this big orange all caps rectangle is percussion. So these are the percussion tracks here, collapsed and expanded. And then here's the greater orchestra, everything that's not percussion and vocals basically, and collapsed. Here it is, all caps, orchestra, and expanded. So here the first instrument we hear is bells. And here it is once again, soloed. Yeah. And this is a song where Stephanie wrote this song, and she's thinking about what she left behind. So that's how I wanted to start the production, with something that makes, to me, that sounds like thinking. So I knew from the production notes that bells were going to be a feature in this production. So I thought, ooh, this nice little approachable, soft sound to get things started off. And why not use an arpeggiator to sort of set the pace and to show that the song is moving. It's, I guess that's it. Just to set the pace, to show that it's moving. I don't know. Sounds like thinking to me. Then you'll see up here, this is how I structure the song: verse 1, bridge 1, chorus, and so on. So you'll notice the next section of the song is a bridge, and here come things like, here is a woodwind section. To me, sounds like I named it Dream Accordion. That's this. So let's start to explore some of the other instruments. Here it is soloed. These are chords. You can see them bigger here. Yeah. And here's an organ. Also originally started as a some kind of woodwind instrument, but just kind of turned it into a bass. Sounds like an organ to me. So here's that. We can look at that. Just simple line here. Not quite serving as a bass part, but here in, E3, F3, for me, bass part is going to be E1, F1. So 3 is not quite that bass part, but I don't know, here we are. Yeah. And that's it. We start the verse with the bells. Then we introduce this organ and this dream accordion. The only other thing is now the percussion starts up in the bridge. There's not much to the percussion in this song. If we pick any song that I'm producing for our upcoming album, or maybe it's out by now, depending on when you're watching this, I tend to give more attention to the instruments, or the orchestra, rather than the beat or the percussion. Yes, instruments make percussion. I don't know, it's just vocabulary. I think of it as orchestra and percussion, although of course percussion would be part of the orchestra. Whatever, gotta call it something. Anyway, and this song is no different. Here we just have a breath, literally a breath that was an inhalation from Stephanie recording the vocals that I moved over here. Let's take a look at that soloed. It just, no big deal. I made this little sort of wave sound. Almost sounds like one of those rain makers, but you know, that's only after. Let's see. Let's take a minute. I haven't looked at this in a while. Let's look at it without this. What would this be here? So here you'll see the effects, the plugins. My favorite reverb plugin. Let's mute it, and from the same company, another sort of reverb effect. We'll mute that as well. Here is an EQ, just taking out all the lows and low mids here, because we want the kick drum, the snare to occupy that space. So I'll go ahead and mute that too. And then, so the sound without the effects is just letting the air out of the tire, I guess. So when we add the EQ, we add the two reverb effects. Now it's ooh, like that. Then we just have a little kick drum and snare over here. You know, you can hear that kick drum has like a dirty, sort of gritty sound. Just a rim shot for the, you know, the other part. And this says rattle groove. What could this be? Yeah, just a little rattle. And then here in the chorus, it says rattle groove 2 and rattle simple. So I just kept that rattle sound and added a different sort of stereo effect to make it a little different. Anyway, add it all up. Here's the percussion soloed as the group. Not too much, just nice and simple, allowing lots of space for the color of the chords, the texture of those instruments, which was the focus for me. Stephanie wrote an emotional song. You can learn more about that in the how we wrote it. Listen to Stephanie talk about the emotions that go into the song. So for me, that's less of a focus on beats, on percussion, more of a focus on other sounds. So here it is together, starting with the bridge. Yeah, and then let's go ahead and focus on one other section. Is it the ending? It gets pretty hype here in the second bridge. We introduce 3 new instruments. You can see that here. The purple, light blue, and maroon color. So the purple is borrowing from it says it's an accordion bend. What in the world could that be? You know, I took this instrument here, this what I call dream accordion, and then just put different effects on it till it sounded a little bit different. Anyway, let's see what that sounds like. So here's a new instrument that appears in the second bridge. Okay. And then we have a bell's strum. Here I introduced some more chords just to add. We got chords going on in the bells here. This section. We got chords going on in this dream accordion section. So guess just really wanted to play lots of chords. Anyway, here's that. Isn't that pretty? And then the sort of most gnarly sound that really adds the dissonance, the sort of agony, pain is I recorded myself playing harmonica and then just added some effects till it turned out the way I wanted it to. Basically ran it through some guitar pedals. Let's see what it sounds like without any effects. I'm curious. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And if you saw our How We Wrote It video that we made, I mentioned that in the production notes, when I'm listening to the song, I'm thinking, I want to help create this epic funeral sort of soundscape. Stephanie's talking about leaving a great love behind and moving forward, and doesn't that sound like a funeral in some ways? Anyway, I really wanted to have. I'm just taking notes. I'm like, what could possibly go into this song? I thought bagpipes. I've never put bagpipes into a song, and I don't own any, so I thought that I would blend some of these different instruments and get a bagpipe effect. Anyway, at the core of making this bagpipe sound was this little rinky-dink harmonica. And then we add some guitar pedals. And then EQ it. And then add a reverb. And then with the rest, and then add the rest of the song. Take out the drums. And then it all builds up in the final chorus, right before we cut down the excitement to leave you with a lasting impression from the lyric that Stephanie wrote. Cool. So that's a pretty good look at what's going on in this instrumental file. Let's take a look at what happens when we add the vocals. Okay. So here we are in the vocal file. I condensed everything that you saw into one instrumental track here. So all of that is just one track. The other sections here is lead vocal. Lots of backup vocal. Cruise to this. Look at all that. Here you can see that like 105 and 106, that's track 105, track 106 are not highlighted, they're not on. Some of these aren't on, but yeah, anyway, just to give you an idea of the time and attention we put into backup vocals. And then here are some vocal fillers. So these are parts where I've taken the vocal, the lead vocal or the backup vocal, added some kind of effects to turn it into its own part, its own instrument. We'll see that in a second. Anyway, let's start like we did with the instrumental file and just play the beginning.
Lonely at first, she was a stranger and she quenched her thirst. My favorite flavor.
Sound familiar? So every time I hear this, I'm all about the vocal sauce. One of the things me and Stephanie spent a lot of time talking about for this album is what will the lead vocals sound like. There's a little more to it than just singing into the mic. It's it's what comes after that, which is effects, and you can make it as complicated as you want to. Anyway, right off the bat, I'm all about this lead vocal sauce. Let's take a look at what the lead vocals sound like just by itself. So here it is soloed. Playing the bridge, kind of sticking to the parts that we explored before.
Oh, she looked good in every season. Oh, I left, I had my reasons.
Some throw delay that comes in.
Bluebonnet Baby.
All right, let's see what the backup vocals are doing in that same section.
She looks good in every season.
Here's some Logan in there. Yo, how dope is that rise in pitch? Let's listen to that again. Oof. So let's hear that together. So that's lead vocal and backup vocal, no instrumental, same section.
Oh, she looked good in every season. Oh, I left, I had my reasons. Bluebonnet Baby.
Okay. So that gives you a great idea. Now you know exactly what's going on with the lead vocals and backup vocals. Let's explore this next section, the vocal fillers. I just love fucking with the vocals. I have a lot of fun with this. It's one of the last steps. One of the last things I do in a production is, okay, built the instrumental, fantastic. Let's get Stephanie in here, let's record vocals, great, let's produce the vocals. All of that's done, let's do the backup vocals, great, we got all of that. Then finally, let me take the vocals, which is just a pile of gold bricks, and let me just fuck with it, let me play with it till I get something fun. Check this out. It's called Buzz Melody, I don't know. Here we go. Soloed. That is so cool. And again, you know, it's it feels like screaming, like as if a heavily distorted guitar. So, you know, the emotions on, to me, peeling a few layers back in the song, to me, the emotions on the surface are calm and cool. The lyrics are let you know that it's painful. What's going on in the song, or what Stephanie's thinking of and feeling. So to have something underneath the hood, in this case, this sort of buzz melody, let that be the screaming sound. Don't scream in the the lead vocals, let something else do the screaming for you. And didn't that happen in a similar way with that sort of bagpipe sound that I created? Anyway, let's listen to this vocal filler with the other vocals. Still, let's leave out the instrumental just to get a really good look. Here it is.
Calm as a lake, glistening on, made my heart ache, a paragon.
And then just a little bit with the instrumental, so you hear all of it together.
Calm as a lake, glistening on, made my heart ache, a paragon.
Bagpipes. Okay, and that's a quick little tour of how we produced Bluebonnet Baby. And for a completely different look of the song, watch our acoustic performance. We talk more about our lives and our lives together and what we're up to in our newsletter. You can find the sign up for our newsletter pretty much on anywhere else you can find anything else about us. And that's it. Bluebonnet Baby.